Hello, and welcome back to Tales from the World's Firesides. I'm Clive Gilson, the story guy, and today our journey takes us across the storytelling world of the First Nations from America's Great Plains. As you know, as a storyteller, I try to find and preserve old folk and fairy tales that you might not have come across as a way of sharing cultures across the world. So settle in and join me as we share the story Iktomi and the Coyote. Far off, upon a large, level land, a summer sun was shining bright. Here and there, over the rolling green, were tall bunches of coarse grey weeds. Iktomi, in his fringed buckskins, walked alone across the prairie with a black bare head, glossy in the sunlight. He walked through the grass without following any well-worn footpath. From one large bunch of coarse weeds to another, he wound his way about the great plain. He lifted his foot lightly and placed it gently forward, like a wildcat prowling noiselessly through the thick grass. He stopped a few steps away from a very large bunch of wild sage. From shoulder to shoulder he tilted his head. Still farther he bent from side to side, first low over one hip and then over the other. Far forward he stood, stretching his long, thin neck like a duck to see what lay under a fur coat beyond the bunch of coarse grass. Now, Iktomi stood beside the creature, looking at the closed eyelids that did not quiver the least bit. Pressing his lips into straight lines and nodding his head slowly, he bent over the wolf. He held his ear close to the coyote's nose, but not a breath of air stirred from it. "Dead," said he at last, "dead, but not long since he ran over these plains. See, there in his paw is caught a fresh feather. He is nice fat meat." Taking hold of the paw with the bird feather fast on it, he exclaimed, "Why, he's still warm. I'll carry him to my dwelling and have a roast for my evening meal." He laughed as he seized the coyote by its two forepaws and its two hind feet and swung him over his head and across his shoulders. The wolf was large and the tepee was far across the prairie, but Iktomi trudged along with his burden, smacking his hungry lips together. He blinked his eyes hard to keep out the salty perspiration streaming down his face. Now, all the while, the coyote on his back lay gazing into the sky with wide open eyes. His long white teeth fairly gleamed as he smiled and smiled. To ride on one's own feet is tiresome, but to be carried like a warrior from a brave fight is great fun, said the coyote in his heart. He had never been borne on anyone's back before, and the new experience delighted him. He lay there lazily on Iktomi's shoulders, now and then blinking blue winks. Did you never see a birdie blink a blue wink? Well, this is how it first became a saying among the plains people. When a bird stands aloof, watching your strange ways, a thin bluish-white tissue slips quickly over his eyes and as quickly off again, so quick that you think it was only a mysterious blue wink. Sometimes, when children grow drowsy, they blink blue winks too, while others who are too proud to look with friendly eyes upon people blink in this cold bird manner as well. Now, the coyote was affected by both sleepiness and pride. His winks were almost as blue as the sky. But in the midst of this new pleasure, the swaying motion ceased. Iktomi had reached his dwelling place. The coyote felt drowsy no longer, for in the next instant he was slipping out of Iktomi's hands. He was falling through space, and then he struck the ground with such a bump that he did not wish to breathe for a while. He wondered what Iktomi would do, so thus he lay still where he fell. Having a dance song one from his bundle of mystery songs. Iktomi, meanwhile, hopped and darted about at an imaginary dance and feast. He gathered dry willow sticks and broke them in two against his knee. He built a large fire out of doors, and the flames leapt high in red and yellow streaks into the sky. Now Iktomi returned to the coyote, who'd been looking on through his eyelashes. Taking him again by his paws and hind feet, Iktomi swung him to and fro. Then, as the wolf swung towards the red flames, Iktomi let him go. Once again the coyote fell through space. Hot air smote his nostrils. He saw red dancing fire, and now he struck a bed of cracking embers. With a quick turn, he leaped out of the flames. From his heels were scattered a shower of red coals upon Iktomi's bare arms and shoulders. Dumbfounded, Iktomi thought he saw a spirit walk out of his fire. His jaws fell apart. He thrust a palm to his face, hard over his mouth. He could scarce keep from shrieking. Meanwhile, rolling over and over on the grass and rubbing the sides of his head against the ground, the coyote soon put out the fire on his fur. Iktomi's eyes were almost ready to jump out of his head as he stood cooling a burn on his brown arm with his breath. Sitting on his haunches, on the opposite side of the fire from where Iktomi stood, the coyote began to laugh at him. "Another day, my friend," he said. "Do not take too much for granted. Make sure the enemy is stone dead before you make a fire." Then off he ran so swiftly that his long bushy tail hung out in a straight line with his back. And there we have the story of Iktomi and the Coyote. Stories like this always remind me that people have always found ways to tell stories that touch our hearts, educate us, and fill us full of wonder as much as sorrow. You can explore my full collections of folklore from the Arctic to the Caribbean, from the Philippines to Zanzibar. They're all available in print and in digital formats. You can find them on places like Amazon, and there's a link at the bottom of the screen. If you're curious about the storyteller behind the mic, then drop by clivegilson.com. I'm always glad to connect. And if today's tale stirred something, do subscribe, share your thoughts below, and pass the story along to friends. You can find out more about the actual project, the Fireside Tales project, at a brand new website called worldfiresidetales, all one word, .com. Thank you as ever for joining me by Tales from the World's Firesides. I've been Clive Gilson, the story guy. Until next time, stay well, keep the stories burning brightly.